Back to the Black Investors Podcast. This is your boy Courtney,
C. Ross here. What's going on?
and we appreciate you for tuning in, tapping into the Black Investors Podcast. This is our new setup for the year. We hope you like it. If not, leave us a comment. Let us know how you really feel. But if you do like it, leave some thumbs up in the comments also. Also, whatever you do, please hit the like and subscribe button. How you feeling today, Ross?
Feeling good, brother. Feeling good. You know, like we talked about every time. I'm just gonna keep saying it's adapting and adjusting. How about yourself? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good today, brother. Feeling blessed and highly flavored today, man. Just trying to keep above float in this real estate market. Stock market is doing good. You know, our brother JR Fenwick, we still in this class. I've been I had a good week in the class. I took more wins than losses this week. I had a nice little loss, but today I came up. So, the owner and creator of Flip That Stock. So don't forget, tune in soon for that. So for today's current event, what you got on the topic today, Ross?
We're gonna talk real briefly about the interest rates. So everybody knows. Well, I ain't gonna say everybody. If you're in the real estate game, you know the interest rate's a huge part of what helps us grow and move and sell houses faster and make them slower, however you want to look at it. And we know our boy Powell and that's running all of that. He again he said he wasn't going to lower the rates. And so December, I think he said he was going to do it. Then he said January. Then he said March. Now we're back to like June, and he still hasn't lowered it. And I don't see, outside of affecting the housing market, inflation is still where it is. It's at least stagnant, if not still going up. And this has been going on for what, year and a half or so. So
18 months, yeah.
I still don't see his mindset behind keeping the interest rate high. It's not doing anything, but and maybe like we talked about before, maybe it's the fact that he wants to correct the housing prices, because we know the housing prices are too big, and that's going to lead to something else we're talking about today. That they're the prices of housing has to correct itself. We're too high on prices, and that's from to your little small towns to your big cities.
Yeah, I agree. Jay Powell said, I ain't dropping nothing, man. He said, and everybody keeps saying, I don't think he's going to drop it. If you look back over history, we're right where average is supposed to be over history of time. The last 2 decades wasn't average when you zoom out. The last 2 decades, what that have done is created an entire cheap money mindset in all of us. And I think he is doing this for the sake of the USD currency. He's trying to make it still know that we got the big cojones on the block. We still good. So if the interest rates are still up and the economy is still doing good, why would I drop it? Right? Because quote unquote, unemployment is not at a record high, still good. You know what I'm saying? And people still shopping. It may be not as much. Stock market still hitting new highs.
They're creating a false sense of that we're doing well, brother.
Oh no, I agree. It is definitely. They got a thing on TikTok called "The America is in a silent depression." So I mean, the numbers are saying all of this, right? And that is true, but I don't think it's going down no time soon. That's my opinion. Should it go down? In my opinion, it should stay at a 5. I think it should stay right here. I'm not going to lie. I feel like this is healthy. This is healthy. What is going to have to happen is wage increase, skill increase for the workers is going to have to change. The economy is going to have to shift. You see what I'm saying? You gotta get people that can afford to buy. We gotta put more into this youth. Like, we can't keep sending kids to college for BS. You know what I'm saying? I was reading something. Taiwan, is the largest chip maker in the world, right? For these chips. And they are having a big major problem in America. Like they halted big building warehouses due to the lack of skilled labor.
That's a huge problem, man. That's a huge problem.
In most industries, the lack of skilled labor, that is a big thing. People are still going because you had for the last 20 years since the early 2000s, people going to school. I can't tell you how many people in my banking career who I met who was going to school for BS degrees.
Yep.
I'm talking
Yep.
like physical education, damn near. You know what I'm saying? Sports medicine. What the hell? It's sports medicine. You got 30-something teams. How many? You know what I'm saying? It's only one. You only need one.
And then you talk to people that went to school. Crazy. It's crazy. You talk to people that went to school, and it's like you're basically they're in jobs. Like I just know several people that went to school for so on and so forth, and they're working in insurance or some maybe even a real estate agent. You know what I'm saying? And but you spend all that money to get a college degree.
We all got degrees. I can show you my degree right over there. We all got it's like it was a thing. So and we went to school for business.
Yeah.
What the hell? You know what I'm saying? What is that? That is not a skilled. That is one of America's biggest downfalls right now, from AI technology to technology all the way down to construction. We can't build houses fast enough due to the lack of skilled workers. You only got a handful of companies and workers who can work, who could do a good job. And that is affecting the economy. So Jerome Powell, I do feel like he needs to keep the rates there and everything else needs to change. Like we need to change, whoever the next president is, need to change this No Child Left Behind law. I've been saying that for the past 5 years. That's the dumbest law we've had in place. Grade level. No, you do need to be left behind if you don't apply the work. That's just, you don't win if you don't score more points than opponent team. Like that's how life works. You know what I'm saying? But we have got to give everybody trophies, just push everybody along. And now we are living in a world where they cannot afford a 6 or 7% interest rate on a house. But again, society has told us to go to school, and they didn't care if you went. They had a degree that they was for sports medicine or business administration, just blanket. No hone-in degree or accounting, something that is so blanket. You know what I'm saying? It's just a blanket degree.
So you went to say you got a degree, you went to school.
Yeah, because the school became the business. You know what I'm saying? The school became the train, the money gravy train. Like,
it's a business, and if people don't realize that it's a business. Higher education is a big business.
A big business.
Popping all over the place because they broke, or they're just giving back. But I have a little different mindset about the interest rates. I really believe that the interest is a part of our biggest downfall, which is the greed. I mean, if I go and buy a house for $200,000, right? The house worth $200,000, right? Not a big deal. Okay, say I'm gonna loan you the money. All right, so because I loan you the money, there's a fee on top of that. But you're talking about if I get a $200,000 loan at a 5 or 6 interest rate, you're almost doubling your cost of the house. It's not fair business, and most countries do not do it.
No. Listen, no country does a 30-year mortgage, yo.
Exactly.
No country, huh? If somebody could pull one up, there's no country, to my knowledge, that does a 30-year mortgage, because what Ross just said is true. You will be paying damn near double, and that is not fair lending practice. That is greed.
That's all it is. And that again, talk about the interest rate. We talk about all these different things, and really a lot of it boils down to greed, man.
I agree, and that I do agree. We shouldn't, like you said, a lot of these other countries, they when you buy a house, the money is already tacked in. The profit and all that is already tacked in. So you paying $200,000, that's all you got to pay is the $200,000 back. The builder has made his money, the realtors agents made their money, title companies made their money, but you're not borrowing $200 and then going to pay back $380.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like they don't even make, like, that's jacked up. But that is how you got this society, and that's how you created this America's society. It's very complex. America is really ghetto. It's really like a real if two things fall, the whole cards of house is coming down. House of cards is falling. You know what I'm saying? For real, because it's really everything is like you just said, alluded to, is not fair practice. But then you have these things that I'm learning in banking, where America has convinced the rest of the world that we could trade off our different derivatives and we can trade our losses. But it's a loss. But don't worry, it's all this interest, as you just said. It's okay. The way we have this system plan, you're gonna still get paid off of it, or we just exit out. That's not going to last for a long time, because it's not fair. And it's just not right. It's just not right.
My opinion, bro, I think the cards are falling. That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. No, I agree too. I agree.
They're falling.
Yeah.
And we're trying to keep it up, trying to keep it afloat, higher interest rates, lower their interest rate. All this is crap to try to keep it floating.
Like this right now.
Exactly.
Hey, Ross, hold that side over there, man. Blow that side over here. We barely keeping it up, bro. Right now we using gum, we using yarn, we using everything we can to hold this thing up. And the people that really run the world, they realize, oh no, that's a crack, and that's a big ass crack. They getting up out of here. They planning their exit strategies, and that's what we want.
Mine, bro. I ain't gonna lie, for real. I'm planning mine.
For real. So that's and I think that's gonna be a good way to segue into our topic today. A topic that, if you talk to an old head in the real estate industry, an OG realtor who's been 25 plus years in the game, they'll tell you, oh man, they've been fighting this for years. And if you don't know, the National Association of Realtors has just lost a lawsuit, a major case as far as commission goes. And our podcast, we spoke about this years ago. You know, we're like on our 90th, 100th episode right now, but in the earlier episodes, we did bring up that things were going to be changing. A guy who brought up a case, and he got a lot of buyers to, go to the Supreme Court and do basically like a class action lawsuit and say that it was discrimination on how the sellers had to pay the sales commission for both the buying agent and the listing agent. And they felt like they were forced into paying 3% for the buying agent. And as a real estate agent, and I've been an agent for like 7 years, I can say that is definitely true. From my perspective, if Ross has been in the real estate game longer than I have. What would you say?
Oh, I think you're right. You're right on point. It's a shame, and I've been a long time opponent of that 6%, especially when the buyer, because I'm in the seller. I'm usually on the selling side, so I'm paying that. Which again, okay, then we're talking agreed again. It's more agreed, because now I gotta pay that. The homeowner, the buyer, has to pay more because I gotta jack my price up because I gotta cover that 6% commission.
That's right.
It's a huge problem, and like you said, I mean, I let you, because you in it. So what are some of the realtors that you've been dealing with saying about
it? Kids, cover your mouth, your ears. I mean, not your mouth. Cover your ears. But it's like being in some shit and saying it don't stink because you're in it. Most realtors I know, they act like, man, that shit, they don't nothing. They saying this, but they gonna have to still pay. Only thing that's gonna happen is the commission is just taking off the MLS contract. I'm hearing people say, oh, that's in October, and they're gonna have to appeal it. I'm like, the NAR already agreed. This is the biggest. They're like the NRA. You know what I'm saying? They are one of the biggest lobbyists. If they agree, believe change is coming, my friend. Believe change is coming, my friend. And I'm gonna tell you, like my dad used to always say, this is the Black Investors Podcast. I'm gonna get close with y'all. When Black people start getting into a lot of it, that's when the law start changing.
Oh, that's the truth.
You talk to anything. If enough of us start getting into this stuff, laws will be changed because of it. You got too many Black realtors. Too many Black people talking about real estate. And the real estate game has been the money making game since the FHA gave the 30-year mortgage since the 50s. You know what I'm saying? It's been a cash cow, and it's been in all other communities but ours.
Yeah,
Every other community.
Well, I don't mean to shut you off, but since most of us aren't investors, the easiest way to get in is as a real estate agent.
That's the easiest entry level. Everybody I know who wants to get into real estate, they say, "Yeah, I think about taking my school to real estate school." I'm like, "Don't do it.
Don't do it." I tell people, don't do it.
I tell people all the time. They be like, "Why?" I'm like, "Bro, don't do it. You do it." I say, "Yeah, but I'm an investor. I also sell properties. I do mostly selling. If you look at my transactions, I'm not doing too many buying houses. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, don't do it. It's not worth it. It is unless you have a book of business, unless you have been doing this for quite some time, or unless you are just extremely good at sales, this is not for you. And most people hate when I tell them the truth, but it ain't. And I do think
the article that we were talking about, that was CNN article. What article? CNN or Fox?
Oh, the Herald Tribune is the one that I was just reading. The Herald Tribune wrote, and on March 27th, 2024, what does the Realtor Commission lawsuit settlement mean for home buyers and sellers? And it basically says that they're going to be changing some of the standard contracts across the nation. But they also are going to be in court in the upcoming months. So this is not over, but everybody's talking about it because a huge organization or a commission just agreed that, yeah, you guys might be right. There may have been some force or coercion on the selling part of a real estate transaction.
You know, 100%. They knew it.
Yeah, they knew it. And they were getting money for the longest, lobbying all types of, spending a lot of money for lobbyists to keep this under the wraps for a long time. I've spoken to realtors and said they have been doing this since the 90s, the early 90s. Like, they've been fighting this for so long. It has just now came to, again, all right, now you got internet. Most agents aren't, but they say that most agents are just opening doors now. They're not putting the same knowledge and effort that they did in the 90s and early 2000s due to technology and AI. So now, and you got a lot of Black people in it again. So yeah, we good. We could cross this. Yeah, we've milked it enough. Change it. And the agents that are in it who think it's not going, they don't. It's just like anything. If you're at the end of a Ponzi scheme, of course I don't. I'm gonna say no. Let's find somebody else to buy into this. I got somebody else got to buy into the circle. I got to get somebody else to get into the circle. Unless I'm going to be asked out, I'm going to be, and that's how it is. And a lot of people have built their life onto this, their family and their careers.
The article that I originally was reading is, I think it's CNN or Fox. I can't remember. But now it's everywhere. But I think that was the first one to shot it out. But there was a lot of these agents that got in, and they're not, like you said, they don't have a big book, or they haven't been professional agents for a long time. Those are the ones that are going to really just fall by the wayside, because they still have to pay all the commissions as far as, the fees to the real estate association, all that type of stuff. And they're not going to make any money because they're only going to get 0.5%, 1%. And what also going to do is open up a huge arena, which we already know there's lots of places that, online that'll sell your house for that flat 1% or flat $1,000. That's a huge business that's going to open up. So again, finding a need, that's a huge need there.
Yeah, I agree. And and who you think is going to be right there waiting to pick up that scrap? Amazon, all the businesses who you already trust, who you already trust to deliver your medicine, your food. Amazon's delivering your cars. Now, guess what? They're gonna have a real estate side, flat rate. They're gonna get in the industry, believe it or not, because the industry is changing. And then COVID has definitely, when we shifted to the whole virtual live, the live showing, virtual showings, and people are already getting accustomed to it. They're still going to want to go touch the house. They still will need a physical agent, but best believe that agent will not be getting 3% of 500,000 no more. Those days in the 2030s, again, I look at America as we do everything in decades over here. Things are pretty much scaled in decades. This decade right now is COVID, and it's a major shift. When 2030 hits, ain't nobody gonna be talking about COVID. You can't use the COVID excuse no more. They're gonna clean up all the crap that happened. And by 2030, there ain't gonna be no more realtors. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be standard flat rate agents. You will still have your big time Keller Williams realtors, but it's gonna be your top 10 percenters.
Yeah,
the rest of the 90% is gonna be done. They ain't gonna be done. Your top 10 percenters, they're still gonna be here. But they're going to be eating. They're going to be the top. They were already at the top 10 of their class, and they're going to still be at the top 10 because they have the best knowledge, the best system in place. So they're still going to do good. But Houston alone, when I became a real estate agent, had the second most realtors outside of New York City. 42,000. However, only like 15% of them handled a lot of transactions. Did like 80, did 90, 15% of them did 90% of the transactions. So it was some astronomical number, like, well, only 15 of this is really doing work. 15% of these people are doing work. And I was one of those people for the longest. I had a license, but I also had a W-2 job. I would just sell a house, 1 or 2. I'm getting cut out. Them type of agents are gone. You're not going to make it, So I don't know what to tell.
Yeah, trickle down. A lot of that is going to be like we were talking about. There's going to be some more class action suits that people that were forced to sell their house at that 6%. They're going to come back. They're going to get some kickbacks. They're going to get some kickbacks. Just like anything, when they start changing them rules and they say, you're right, that was unfair business. So by default, you start getting letters. If you bought a house, in this year and you paid 6% commission, we have a lawsuit that you can join on. You know what I'm saying? That's coming.
It's definitely coming. And that is going to have a long-lasting effect on the industry as a whole. And that's also making the new buyer a little bit more savvier, asking questions that he or she may not have asked before this. Buyers, the average buyer, first-time homeowner, they didn't ask, could I negotiate my commission? That wasn't even a thing to even think about, and if things do, you already had companies doing the iBuy model, which Redfin and Open Door and Zillow even, they just were a little pre-head of the game, I guess you would say. Because now, I bet you Zillow wish they would have gotten in the real estate game right now. Because now your whole model could probably fit better if I don't got to pay 6%. If I could drop that 6% to just 2 or 3%, you talking that's more houses may have fit within the model, and I think it's going to change the industry as whole, but I do think it needed to be changed.
10 years ago, bro, at least. And it's also going to affect the price, the cost of housing. Again, if I'm not paying, if I got a house that I'm selling for $500,000 and I'm 6% of that, 5 times 6, what I'm saying? 30. And so I'm paying 30 grand in commission. I could lower my price 30 grand or even 20 grand. I still make an extra 10, and that the buyer can get a better.
That's right. And that is what needed to happen. But just like any type of change, I don't care if you making change on yourself, changing anything, it's going to take that first start is going to be rough because you're changing from what you used to do to what you're trying to get to. So we're going to go through a rough patch. And I'm thinking, like I said, what year? 2024, 6 years. It's going to be in the next 6 years, like Ross said, you're going to have a lot more class action lawsuits. By 2030, the game will be different.
Whole different thing, bro.
The whole process is going to be different. Yeah, right. And what it's going to also do is eliminate all these extra people who didn't even need to be in it. extra title companies, they should simplify the home buying process.
Absolutely.
If
You
they
got
really want to make home buying
right. Don't make sense.
it's so much, it's so complicated. And for the average person, if I'm a freaking doctor or if I'm a police officer, I ain't worried about none of this. Why? There's so many steps that I have to worry about, from the lender to the realtor to the title company to the insurance agent to the appraiser to the inspection. They need to simplify it. It could be very intimidating. And again, if you talk this new generation that's coming up, there's a lot of things that is intimidating to them. And this is your new consumer, your Gen Z, your kids that are 15 and 13 and 10. These kids are late with everything. So you can't make things intimidating. You have to simplify it. If you want them to buy a house when they get 30, you want the 12-year-old to buy a house when they get 30, you're going to have to simplify this entire process, or that boy or girl will be living at home for a long time.
Right, that's a large part of it too. That it's people don't the American dream is not, like they call it the American dream. It's not really a dream anymore for a lot of people, especially the younger generation. I'd rather just rent, because people move around too much now. What I'm gonna buy a house for? I want to move 2 years, I'm gonna be somewhere else. Another 2 years, I'm gonna be somewhere else. So if you're in real estate, the rental market, the apartments, big apartments, garden apartments, that's gonna be a huge industry coming forward.
Or any rental, from tiny houses, even if you got a shack, or even if you could turn a mall into 1,000-unit building, it's still because people want to just be in and out. And like you just said, they're looking at a house as a liability more than an asset. And in most cases, I've had many of discussions. In most cases, a house could definitely be more of a liability than an asset, depending on.
Doctor said that many years ago, and everybody laughed at him.
Yeah, he was right. But it all depends on the type of buyer, what you buy, and how you buy, and how you source the funding from that. That's what can make or break that, make it an asset or a liability. But for the typical new person coming up, like who you said, who move a lot, you damn right, that house is a liability, because the house ain't going up in equity within the 2 to 5 years. As in these new houses, you hear a lot of these new construction AC unit breaking in 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because the AC unit was sitting in the warehouse for the last 10 years, because you know what I'm saying? It takes so long. So, I had a buddy that happened to. He moved into a house within 5 years, the AC unit. I'm like, how is that? But when these big developers, they buy in bulk, but it may be sitting for a while. So by the time they put it into the house in that new construction, that damn AC unit is already 5 years old, or could be 5 years old already.
And they're also putting cheaper materials in everything, from
everything
maker of the air conditioning unit to the builder, to the end user. So that, because of inflation, again, we talk about inflation, things cost more. So they're going to try to save money where they can. And that goes down to food too. We talked about that.
So, so all this is going to have to change. And again, a lot of people don't like it because most real estate agents, we're not skilled laborers. You know what I'm saying? We don't have another skill that we could use to go into a different industry. If I knew technology or AI, I'd be like, all right, cool, bet. I just go into another industry. But most real estate agents don't have that. And because the barrier of entry is so low, most of the people aren't going to have another industry that they can just pivot to. You know what I'm saying?
So one good tip I would say to leave everybody with is, if you are in school to be a real estate agent right now, or about to be in school, stop it. Change course.
The advice I always give people who say I want to become an agent is, don't get into real estate, because having a roof over your head is your number one survival as a human being. I don't care what race, age, whatever. I tell you, either you're going to be in a house or under the bridge. Those are your two options. So get into real estate. It's an industry that's never going to go. It's an industry that's always going to hold its value, because again, people, that's just a survival mechanism. I need to feel safe when I go to sleep at night. So, but there's many of ways to get into real estate. And an agent is typically the worst way. Typically. You talk to any successful investor, they'll be like, nah, I ain't no agent. My wife might be an agent just because I got tired of paying the damn 3%. That's typically how it is.
Exactly.
But most people, they'll tell you, nah, don't be no damn agent. You got to get creative and find out ways to get into real estate, buy and hold, other ways to do real estate. But being an agent is not one of the ways. And that has been my advice since I've been in this. So that's the tip I'm gonna leave if you're thinking about it. And a tip I'm gonna leave for a buyer and seller: do some education and push back. Everything is negotiable in life. So I always tell people that.
Now you got this information, which if you weren't looking out for it, you may not have known what we're talking about today. So if you're about to sell a house, you have a house for sale, you need to go back to your realtor and, hey, we need to look at this again. We need to look at this commission again. And they're gonna push back. They're gonna push back hard. But now you have some information, like Courtney said, educate yourself. Now you have some information to stand up on and say, nah, that's not the case anymore. I don't have to pay you 3%.
So, with on that note, if you are coming to Houston, Texas, I am a real estate agent. Reach out to me, Courtney Price. Let me know. I am my niche is I help people who relocate, because I've relocated many of times. Ross can tell you I've moved so many times, it's not even funny. So if you need help, and I'm an investor, so I understand, and I have a background in banking, so I'm well equipped of goes on in the real estate transaction. So that's what I got going on. What about you, Ross? What you got going on?
Again, I was talk about a little bit before, I'm gonna get into more of the apartment buildings, tiny homes, those type of things. I still got the book out there. I'm working on 2 other books, stay tuned for that. Growing. And one thing I'm gonna say about Courtney when he talk about real estate. So Courtney has always been negotiated his commission. So you ain't gotta worry about coming to him and him fighting you on that 3%. You know what I'm saying?
I understand it, and luckily I work for a broker who understands it. Like we're very, I definitely don't. So yeah, please do talk to me. Ross, what's the website that they can purchase your book from?
TheHouseThatRossBuilt.com. You can purchase it on all your Apple books, your Barnes and Noble bookstore, all your mobile or your digital media bookstores. You can purchase it on there.
Yeah, that's it right there in the background. One of our sponsors. What's the name of the book?
The House That Ross Built.
All right, bad. Make sure y'all tap in. It's right. That's we appreciate you guys for tapping into our podcast. Again, we appreciate the support. We love the support. Thank you for sticking it in with us. Again, we're adapting and pivoting. And we want you to adapt and pivot as well, because that's just what life is about. And as any investor, I don't care what you're investing in, you're gonna always do that until the day you take your last breath. So
get creative.
That's right. That's right. Get creative. So it's 2 things that we're going to stay in. That's Black
investors.
Peace.